Oh man. Hello, welcome to day 69 on the CDT. It's been raining all day and it is humid in this tent. So I got to be careful not to breathe on the camera. Or at all. I'm not going to complain again about the rain. I got up early, 4:45, and got on trail early because there were big climbs today, and I wanted to make sure I got them in before the rain. The big climb started with Mount Flora, which is a 13er, and once you get to the summit of Mount Flora, you have a decision. The CDT actually drops down a lot of elevation down to a lake, and you have to gain that elevation back up to plus some to the summit of James Peak. I have lived in Colorado for 18 years. I haven't taken the opportunity to hike James Peak or the surrounding peaks or the area very much. So I took the second option, which is once you get to Mount Flora, you can hike the ridge over to James Peak. The ridge includes, I may get these wrong, but I believe it's Mount Eva, Perry Peak, Bancroft Mountain, and then you get to James Peak, which I believe is the tallest. The ridge is about 4.7 miles. If you drop down to the lake and then climb back up, I think it's like 10.4. So the ridge is actually shorter by almost 6 miles. It takes you a little bit of time, of course, because you're going up and down, and the up and down includes some hands-on rocks. So I got to the top of Mount Flora and went over to head towards Mount Eva, and I was making good time. I was taking about 45 minutes. Like once I got to the summit of one mountain, I dropped to the saddle, and then got to the I'll explain the coughing in a second. Got to the top of the summit on the next mountain. It was taking about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how nasty the descent was down to the saddle, and also how steep the ascent was. The only really steep one was James Peak. It had a lot of ridges and a lot of hands-on rocks, basically. So I made my way over to Mount Eva, finished, got over to Perry Peak, finished, got over to Bancroft Mountain, and it was about 10:45-ish or 10:50 when I got to the top of Bancroft. I had noticed as I was hiking up Bancroft that clouds were starting to form at 10:15, and the clouds were already in the form of storms, and so I could see precipitation falling in the distance, but it wasn't above me yet, and the only option I had was get up to James Peak, get it back on the CDT, and then start descending. But the descent was gradual. We actually did a lot of traversing and stayed pretty high today. So on the way from the summit of Bancroft Mountain down to the saddle, I started hearing thunder, and the clouds were getting closer. So I had already been hustling. As I mentioned, it was only taking 45 minutes to an hour to go from summit to summit. I descended Bancroft Mountain very quickly and ascended James Peak very quickly. My lungs were not happy with me. They still aren't, because I essentially ran up James Peak as fast as you can run with a pack, like a huge backpack, overnight backpack on your back. I got to the top of James Peak at 11:55. I took two photos and immediately started running down because there was a thunderstorm that was in the area, actually right above me. It was only thundering, like I couldn't see the visible lightning, but I didn't want to be there. It started raining at noon. It rained from noon until almost 6 p.m. It was two different storms. The thunderstorm moved out of the area, and then a storm immediately followed that one and did not have thunder and lightning. 6 hours of rain when you're high up meaning in like the 12s, and eventually dipping down to the 11s. But when you're at 12, in the 12,000 foot range, like between 12 and 13, and you're traversing across different ridges and going up and down over saddles or ridges, it's not comfortable knowing that a thunderstorm could pop up, but at the same time, having constant rain slows your progress. It also didn't help that this section of the CDT after the summit of, or most of it, I should say, after the summit of James Peak, actually didn't have tread. It was poles and rocks, and you just followed the poles and the rocks. And so the only tread was where people had walked before. It finally stopped raining around 5:45 or 6 o'clock, and I started to get dry. However, I knew that it could start raining at any moment. So towards the end of the evening, we finally got to start descending down, and I got to a trailhead. I don't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. And then I noticed that we started ascending again. So I pushed my body. My lungs are not happy, so I pushed my body to ascend as quickly as possible, and then descend to a saddle, and then dump into a river drainage or a creek drainage. I got to the bottom, I scooped up some water, and I kept on going, and I did another ascent to get to where I camped, because there was a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of dead pole, like dead trees, just a lot of wetness. The dirt was so soaked with water that if you stepped on it incorrectly, like at a sharp angle, it turned into it basically felt like you were stepping on ice. That's how slick the dirt was, because it didn't look like mud. Like, you can see where the water's standing on top of the dirt, and you're like, okay, that's mud. This was just dirt that looked like dirt on the trail. You stepped on it, and then you would basically start ice skating. And unfortunately for me, I hit one of those spots, and whenever I get unstable with my legs, I think I don't know if this is human nature or it's because I teleski, but I go into the telemark position where, one foot is in front of the other with a bent knee, and then the back leg is behind you with a bent knee, on the toes of the back leg. And I went into that position, but I didn't stop. I kept sliding, and my left knee hit a rock on the ground. I actually hit a rock yesterday in a similar situation, not just with I'll call it mud ice. But I think a rock had moved, and I kind of went into the similar situation yesterday. I hit my knee yesterday. It wasn't as bad as today. So my knee's sore. I'm hoping that I didn't hit the IT band or any muscles. I'm hoping I just bruised the kneecap, and it'll be sore for a couple of days. But that's how saturated it is out here, because it's raining every day. The mud is turning into basically ice, and the the trail is flowing with water like rivers. Every seasonal stream is running. It's the blueberries. The blueberries, I think, are going to have a great harvest out here. So if you're hiking in this area, there's blueberries covering the forest all over the place. So hopefully the berries come, and you can come out and harvest them. But the plants themselves look great. So I descended, I collected my water, and then I did an ascension. And I actually don't know how. I had to stuff my phone in my pocket, like deep in my pocket all day. The afternoon during during the rain. So I didn't get to see how much I ascended. I think I got to a saddle. I don't know if it might be near tree line. I don't know. But I did it quickly. That's why I'm coughing. It's also late in the day. It's 8:15 at night. I haven't filtered my water. I haven't cooked yet. I did stretch as soon as I got here. The mosquitoes are horrible, so I threw up the tent. It started to rain. I stretched. I got in here. I'm gonna set up my tent, and then I'll have to cook in my tent and filter the water, which I don't like to do, but it is what it is. That was a lot of ascension in the morning and a lot of rain in the afternoon. So, a rough day, but I'm hoping that the fact that I've had rain for like 17 straight days, whether raining on me or a few of those days it was near me, just not on me, but most of the time it's been on me. So I'm hoping that whatever penance I'm paying for this rain, that I get some good weather to finish up Colorado, and some good weather in Wyoming. So I think I've given several shout outs to Mother Nature and the weather gods for helping me avoid the rain, but since I've left Creed, and more specifically since I arrived at Silverthorne on the 29th, I've been rained on every day, and it's been the nasty kind. It's been the thunderstorms. So however I angered them. Maybe I didn't think of them enough. I don't know, but hopefully I get some good weather, because this getting up at 4:45 and then hiking until 7 or 7:30 tonight, and doing it all over again, like it's just makes for really long days. I'm tired. My legs are tired. All my stuff's wet. It's wearing on me. One last thing that I did find out today, actually last night, was there was a fire in Rocky Mountain National Park in 2020, and it was near the CDT. So the park, I don't know if this is recently or what, but the park has decided to close the CDT through Rocky Mountain. It was like about 22 miles, I think. When I was researching the CDT, I was excited about a few areas on the trail. I'm sorry. I'm sincerely sorry for the coughing. I'm torturing my lungs, basically. I was excited about the walking, like hiking through the lava flow in New Mexico, which I did not get to do because they closed the national forest. I was excited to hike through like this James Peak area and also the Rocky Mountain area, because I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Rocky Mountain, at least not in this area. I'll hold the others for later, but that's over 2. The lava flow in New Mexico was closed with the national forest, and now the Park Service has closed the CDT section. I guess they had a load of CDT hikers coming through, and a maintenance crew said that the trail was closed to everyone except CDT hikers. They were allowed to come through, but I guess a decision was made that is not true. So some park rangers, I guess, are at the trailhead saying no to CDT hikers. A couple CDT hikers actually got through. I don't know if a park ranger wasn't at the trailhead at that point, but those 2 hikers, according to comments, they got escorted out of the park. So I'm kind of bummed that I don't get to hike through the Rocky Mountain National Park. With all of the rain that I've had recently, if Rocky Mountain National Park is closed, I was thinking about just going in, grabbing my resupply, and keep on going, because there's no point of being in Grand Lake if I can't go to Rocky Mountain. But with all the rain, I might just hike in and get a hotel room, do some laundry, let all of my stuff dry out, and for a night, and then continue on. So I'll keep you all posted on what happens. I was planning on doing a backpack and a tent, like kind of, one of those answer question gear things, but it's been raining, so I haven't been able to do that yet. I'll get to that, I promise. And I think that's it. I'm going to filter water, cook some dinner, and get to bed late, and hope that I get some good weather tomorrow. So have a great evening. Thanks for watching the videos, and and I'll talk to you folks tomorrow.